Oh wow, it is getting close to the release of Planet Coaster 2 and the latest Frontier Unlocked has just dropped. Now we've got some more details to talk about and some more fun stuff, so in true Chacho tradition we're going to take a look at them and what they actually mean for us as players. Huh, so impressive. Nice one. LOL. Alright, so this is one of the biggest things that you guys have been complaining about, and that's the limited themes that you've got available from launch. But actually, we've seen firsthand today you can do quite a lot with them. The aquatic pack has just been used in a demo in the context of sci-fi. It just works absolutely perfectly. So guys, I don't think you need to worry. Stand down on this one. You're going to be able to do quite a lot of fun things with the stuff you're going to get given. And we've also got some more details on dark interiors. Let's talk about global illumination. Now this is how dark your indoor and underground areas are going to be, and it's carefully described as dark area rather than dark ride. It's very semantic, I know, but it's quite important to make that distinction. This is going to be determined by the quality of the hardware that you have, so you essentially need a graphics card that's going to have ray tracing on it, but this does allow you to have naturally dark interiors. So if you are wondering whether you need to upgrade your PC for this one, the answer, I'm afraid, might just be yes. Right, so let's rewind back to the very start of the stream, because interestingly they started off showing off the UI, which we all know is a bone of contention for some of us. It's nice to get some context around the decisions that they've made regarding the UI and hearing them talk through some of the decisions they've made. It's all interesting, right? It's all interesting stuff, but having actually played this game with this UI, I'm really not sold. I get the idea of less information but show more, but everything just still feels hidden behind so many clicks. This is not a PC UI, that's for sure. They're going for clean UI. Honestly, the UI in the original is cleaner. The UI scaling tool seems cool, but I'm not sold, I'm sorry. So we had a first look at the park expansion tools. We're now going to be restricted to what we can do with the parcels of land that we get given. This is a really nice touch. I really like this, because now we're going to have restricted parks like Alton Towers. You know, can't build above tree line, can't use the land for certain uses, that sort of stuff. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. The research mechanism seems to be quite interesting. I can't actually wait to see how this plays out in franchise. Now, it seems that you build up points over time. Those points are then used to unlock blocks of stuff. A little bit like how the research works in Zoo. But honestly, though, I only ever researched the first level of stuff in Zoo. I always just left the blueprint research out. So I really hope it isn't like it in that aspect. But they are talking about researching blueprints, and that's a little bit of an amber flag for me. But I mean, let's see how this plays out. It's looking like it's going to be a game worth playing rather than a sandbox builder. So yeah, I'm intrigued, let's say. Okay, so the heat maps have had a complete overhaul. They are now actually quite similar to Zoo. This is a really nice addition. We've got those new tolerances. Panic. What is that? What is it? So the power and water heat maps seem to be lifted straight from Zoo as well. They've got a scenery heat map. We are going to get to see how scenery is going to affect areas. It's a good addition because we no longer have to guess what the scenery is doing to our rides. Interestingly though, it didn't seem like facilities negatively impact the guests. So I wonder if that's going to be put in later on. In a really, really welcome move, it looks like staff have been buffed out. We now have to manage the staff morale, the schedules and pay. All of this is going to affect happiness. It has just been confirmed that weather is going to affect your guests. The example we saw is sunburn. Heat is going to affect your guests, and we now need to provide shade and sunscreen. On the flip side though, we also need to provide umbrellas for poor weather. Now this is actually a shift up from Zoo, because heat was never really a factor for your guests. The day is also broken up into sections, and the weather is also varied throughout the day, and you can see in advance what that weather is going to be. This is an interesting mechanic. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on. In terms of guest satisfaction, this works as you'd expect. What rides they've been on, what needs they have, whether they've enjoyed your park so far. There's no real surprises on this one. So in Planet Coaster 2, ride attendants are going to be manageable staff. This has just been confirmed. They're going to be responsible for looking after your rides, and they will also have needs themselves, such as pay, conditions, setting shift patterns. Staff zones are now also way easier. You just paint an area, you plop your staff member into it, and boom, they stay where they're put. This is a much better system than the previous games, where you actually had to specifically call out areas that somebody needed to work in. I like this change. This is a good change. So we've just seen some other shop management stuff, and as you'd expect, you can tailor the things that are included in food items, and of course you can charge more for them. But there's a really nice touch baked into this, pun intended. That's the inclusion of intolerances and how guests are going to be affected by this. This is a completely new layer of management that I didn't see coming. Times in real life have moved on since Planet Coaster 1, and this inclusion is actually something real life theme parks have to contend with, especially here in the UK with the introduction of something called Natasha's Law. I could could make an entire video on that on its own. So it's just a law that's come in that involves food laws and stuff. But this means that you're going to need to cater to a lot more variety of guests' needs. This is actually quite deep. And we've now also seen more about the power and water systems, and we also had a demo. Now, we all know that if you see my playthrough, this is just orcs AF, because I struggled really badly and they just made it look really easy. So we're going to move swiftly on. And the 2 new flat rides seem really cool. I love the Helta Skelta. I have missed it since Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. This is the one thing that I wish I had in Shorehaven Pier, and I've had in some of the other smaller parks as well. And the buoyancy ride, that's a weird one. It's basically a reverse drop tower that starts in a body of water and gets pushed up. It's a shame that the water is in a tank and not below ground, but I think this is probably going to be the theme that we're going to see, like the monsoon chute and whatever is all similar to that. I like it though. It's a new ride. It's something different for us to put into our parks, and of course it's going to be themable to however we want it. So yeah, I like this one. Alright, so on to my final thoughts then, and genuinely, this is shaping up to be a really nice game. I'm not being paid by Frontier to say this, I'm allowed to have my own opinions, and I really do think this is a bloody good sequel. It's already vastly different to the version that I played at the beginning of the month, and it's got some new features in there, even if the UI stuff is still the same. That's still bugging me, it's still niggling away at me, but the introduction of stuff like food intolerances and the deep dive management, I love it, right? It's turning out to be really, really nice. So let's put our speculation hat on for a second, because one thing I have noticed is there's a lot of stuff that's coming together to support some kind of day, night or seasonal opening. For example, you've got to assign your staff to times. There are settings in the park management UI to select when the park is open and closed. The weather is set to change hourly. Ride staff have to be scheduled. Time passes by really slowly and it's broken up into hours. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as someone who is getting a little bit bored with sandbox play, this excites me a little bit. This is something that no theme park game would have ever done before, and if they can pull it off, this is a game changer. I know some of you are gonna hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. But for me, I've always craved having this in a theme park game, and if this is going in this direction, well, imagine if you've got to close rides for maintenance and dismiss staff at the end of the season. You've got to open later for special events. Like, it just adds this whole new layer of managing a theme park. It's probably the most exciting development I'm going to have, and I don't know how this is going to play out. This is purely speculation, and you know that we love speculation. Planet Zoo 2 videos are already coming out, but let's see how it plays out, right? Let's see what happens. So what do you guys think? How are you feeling now that we are 3 deep dives in? Let me know below, and of course the next time I get an opportunity to play the game, you can guarantee I'm going to bring you along for the ride as soon as I'm allowed to. So until then, I will see you soon. Bye.